And here we go in the voice
Hello.
of Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight.
Talking about me?
Yes.
Handsome.
I like how you're like super close to the camera and there's a gothic castle behind you.
No, this is La Sagrada Familia. I'm clearly in Europe. People have been questioning that recently in the chat, but wait, La Sagrada Familia right here,
Did you just come
Barcelona. Sorry,
from the Mona Lisa?
Barcelona. So yeah, my only beef with the Mona Lisa is it's really small.
Oh yeah?
It's like the size of a computer monitor, you know?
Did you see the Glass Onion?
I have not seen the Glass Onion.
Well, to give a slight spoiler,
Oh wait, the movie.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's like Knives Out Part 2.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where Edward Norton is like the tech billionaire and he like has the Mona Lisa on loan.
Yeah.
Somehow. Yeah.
But the thing is, everyone was super impressed in the movie. Apparently in our league, people have no respect for incredible art.
Incredibly small art.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Anyway, it's the 15th of September, 2023. This is the first podcast of our new, very young fantasy football season. We did not get a draft weekend recap, but that's all right because the majority of our league was there and we're tuning in via GroupMe. So we have a few listener questions we can get to later on that deal with the draft. So unless you have some instant things you want to comment about it, I think we can circle back on draft weekend.
I want to say something about draft weekend very quickly.
Okay.
I swear to God. So obviously the most contested moment of the whole weekend was the quote foul ball, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
I was talking to Adam like all weekend. I was like, you know what? It was only like, I lost by like 10 points or like 8 points or something like that. Nice, Mango card. And I was like, I would only be like really butthurt if it actually cost me like winning the belt. And then I swear, like Wednesday morning at like 4 o'clock in the morning, it was literally like the Undertaker meme. I get up and I'm like, he would have lost 6 points. I would have gained 6 points. I would have won the belt if that was in, like straight up. It was a 12.
Do you know what everyone's final score was?
I'm not sure what everyone's final score was, but I think I lost by 10, and that was a 12-point swing. And both people ahead of me were on that team.
Brad? Was Brad and Adam the two?
No, it was Bill and Adam.
Because I was also on your wiffle ball team, and I was up there in points too. So I'm curious where I would have fallen had the chips.
Yeah.
Like
so
that.
I mean, like I said in GroupMe, if it were fucking Nemesis, it would have been a wrap, right? Like so ridiculous. But this is the most undisputed champion for sure.
Because of the grand slam.
Because of the foul ball. Yeah, because of the foul ball.
Yeah, that was sad for us. Amazing that it would end on that. Amazing that the game was so close, like 17-16 final score after like we had taken a short lead and then they scored like 9 runs in an inning and we're all like dejected in the field. And then the next half inning, we score 9 runs.
Yeah, I remember being in the outfield. I think I was looking at whoever was sitting out because we had an additional person. I looked at him and I was like, I don't think it's in the cards for us today. Like we were down by like 9 or 10 or whatever. Yeah, but I guess it wasn't in the cards after all.
Why don't we get to a little weekend update? How was your this past weekend, the first football weekend of the year?
Right. So I've been on just a life update. I've been doing daddy daycare from like 6 to 7 in the morning till like 1:30 to 3, depending on the day, every day. And so it's a lot of me and Marlo time, which is great and wonderful. And Sunday was no different. Amber went to go play pickleball with Sean and Adam and their partners. And so I was at home because I wanted to watch all the football with Marlo.
With the boy.
So, yeah, we're not really having him watch screens. So he was kind of just vibing in like his he has this really cute skip hop thing now where he's like standing up in it and like
Does
playing
he
with
like
stuff.
does he like face you? Like do you face him away
Yeah,
from
and
the
he just
TV?
looks at me.
And you have
It
the
makes me feel
volume still
bad
on in the
because
background?
what was that?
The volume is still on, like the football volume?
Yeah, yeah. I was watching the Panthers game on my tablet, which honestly they didn't do as poorly as it looked in the end. Bryce Young was doing decently, and then it all just completely fell apart in the like beginning of the fourth quarter. But it's neither here nor there. I just watched a bunch of football, and then yeah, hung out with my mom. It was a pretty boring day, honestly. Like it was the worst of both worlds in fantasy and football when your team loses. I get squished by the stackle. So it was not the best day in terms of football, but it was great just to have football back. I love being able to watch it. Probably drink like 3 Coors Lights during that morning game.
Hell
Went
yeah.
hard. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, we got both to experience a part of the biggest blowout of the week. So that
Hey,
was fun.
yeah, yeah, it was brutal.
Uh
Are any of my players gonna score more than 7 points? Like any of them?
I spent my weekend. My week on.
Hmm.
I spent my week on in Tucson. It was hot as balls, absolutely miserable, ultimate weather. Um, it's kind of funny because I remember like a year ago on this podcast, I was complaining about going to Tucson, and then like a year later, same shit happens. The one difference is that this time I had enough forethought to fly. There's a direct flight from San Diego to Tucson, so instead of having to drive like 6 hours back post tournament, just like body destroyed and all sweaty and nasty, I was
Yeah.
able to instead, uh, after our games, and we were over by like noon on Sunday. We went to this like sports bar called Famous Sam's, which is like classic sports bar, like pretty like mediocre food, but tons of beer and alcohol. And we were there from like noon until like 5. So we just spent like 5 hours watching football, which was great because we caught the end of the first round and then the entirety of the second round. It was like me and like 10 other teammates of varying degrees of like interest. Like you and me and a few other guys on one end of the spectrum who were like just super locked in because like their teams were playing or there's football fans, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where one of our teammates is like, get me the fuck out of here. But we were all trapped together because we had one van and a flight at like 6 p.m. So that was cool. It was cool to be able to spend a lot of time watching football, obviously. And I was lucky enough to have the Stackle and the Dolphins play
Yeah.
on the second round. So I was able to watch that. And during Sunday morning, in times that I had available, I would like pop to the phone, and my team was doing very mediocre, like no scoring updates. um, and then Medicine finally got in the end zone, and then the Dolphins game started, and it's kind of funny because like I think between Tyreek and Tua, they scored like half of my points. So that's a crazy percentage. That's a lot of eggs in one basket.
High bar to set, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who did you sit next to in the plane? You probably just smelled like liquor, beer, and cleats. Like you probably just smelled like shit.
So it was Southwest, and again there was like 10 to 12 of us on my team, and then
Oh
sporadic
god.
other like San Diego Ultimate players because there's a lot of teams around here.
That
So anyway, we had like
poor
half of the
plane.
plane, right?
That
So like
poor plane.
I was sitting next to one of my teammates. I had a middle seat, and then next to me was actually it might have been all three of us in a row. So I think there's a lot of that of like because Southwest you like seat yourself,
Oh right, yeah.
depending on your group or whatever. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. And like sitting for a few hours afterwards, you kind of like cool down and like you stop sweating. Did what
Yeah.
we called hobo showers, right? You go to the bathroom and grab some like paper towels out of the wall, and then you're like you dabbing
We
yourself. And
so is that what they're calling it now? Hobo showers?
that's what my teammates were calling it. Also, like fresh change of clothes, right? Get out of your compression shorts. And I think I was free
I guess
balling.
Hobath got canceled a long time ago.
Hobo.
Hobo, I thought Hobo was canceled too, so I might as well just go with the OG.
This was a
Hobo.
vagabond bathing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm glad that you guys took those hobo baths and you were able to spare those poor individuals on the plane.
Yeah,
just trying to
it
make
was
it.
fine. I was actually thinking that day, like, what the worst plane situation I've been in that case, or like going straight from like some kind of activity to not being able to clean up or like shower to like plane ride. And I think it was last year when I was flying back from Portugal, and I told the story, but I was like late to my connecting flight in Frankfurt. I flew by myself from Lisbon to Frankfurt, which was delayed. And I had like a very small window to get on my Frankfurt to SF flight. And so I was like sprinting through the Frankfurt airport, which is huge. It's a huge airport. And I had like my giant bag. So like waddling, like waddle shuffling, right? Finally get on the plane, and I'm like sweating. I'm in a middle seat between like a 55-year-old like Spanish woman and like a 14-year-old like German girl. And I start like coughing. And so it's like I'm coughing, I'm sweating. It's like these women are both like it's edging like away from me.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure this was close because one thing that I realized when I like do sober January or whatever is like you can really smell when people are drinking a lot. Like you can
Mm.
smell it so clearly. So you're like booze bag friends and you just like cruise into this plane like smelling
Booze
like
bag.
feet,
We were booze bagged. Yeah,
like
sweaty and
feet
booze bagged.
and old beer, and I'm sure that at least it was a short flight, I'm sure. So
Uh
I'm
yeah.
real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. Am I just filming myself in a tiny little square, like recording myself in this tiny square?
I think no, you're recording me too. You're getting both
No,
of
I mean
us.
I'm recording you too, but I want a little bit here. Let's do this. That should be better, right? Or we could do active speaker.
No, don't do that. I think we should do the side by side. I think
All right,
side
side
by
by
side is the
side.
best.
That
Uh,
way.
and nothing changed for my view because you're controlling everything, but I think we're good. Let's
No,
move
I
on.
was like in a tiny little box in the corner, and your whole face was like taking it up. So I
Oh,
was like, I wonder. I mean, everyone wants
interesting.
to see themselves a little bit on this stuff. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is what it is. Maybe we can get some listener
I
feedback.
think Weaver and I did it last year where it was like speaker view, and it ended up just like Weaver being recorded the entire time because we had like we're recording on his computer, but like both of us were in the same room, and it was just his face the entire time. We'll
All right,
see.
let's get to it. We have hard outs today.
Okay. Um, let's go to listener questions. We've been rambling about our shit.
Yeah,
So
let's do listener questions.
everybody wants some about listener questions. First question that we got after 1 week. This comes from PB Lee, and his question is, who's the favorite to win the Sacco? Who's the favorite to win the Sacco? And I'll toss this to you first, as you are currently in 11th place with the 11th most points.
Yeah, not a great start for my squad, but got Nakua, so things are looking up. No, obviously, if my team continues to trend this way, then I would be in the conversation for sure. I'm a little concerned with Max's team as well, because he has Wilson, who just lost Rodgers, so his ceiling is going to be capped.
Mm-hmm.
He's got Metcalf, whom Geno Smith just lost both of his starting tackles, and it's Geno Smith, so let's not get it twisted. And then Debo is obviously going to do great. But it's like with Ayuk and CMC and all these guys fully healthy, it's like I feel like it's a lot more of a scatter shot for who's going to really do well. But I mean, that's his wide receiver 3. I think Barkley and Cook are going to be fine. Kyle Pitts is dog shit, so there's that. I would say Max is a sneaky contender with his wide receivers, and then he has Joe Burrow, who looked absolutely atrocious in his first game, and they're going to have a rough September probably with his preseason injury and all that. But
Yeah.
the other, I mean, obviously, if you want to talk on Bacon, his team is a little sus as well. DJ Moore being his wide receiver 1 is tough. Kelsey might be battling injuries this year. Jacobs looking thick. Or you can talk about me. You can talk about my shit team. I don't care. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a tough post week 1 question. I like this after like 4 weeks of data. I mean, just looking at the scores for the entire league, only 4 teams scored over 100 points. So, and like over last weekend, we were all saying it was a weird week for everybody. So it's tough to say. Scoring 75 if you're Bacon is really rough. Although he didn't have Kelsey. And
Yeah, Kelsey is like the thing, right?
He's
If
made
he
some
comes back.
adjustments. He's got the SF defense, so and he's got Lamar Jackson, who
Strong.
also didn't like Lamar scored less than 7 points. So I feel like Bacon just had like the most down week out of everybody, and he didn't have his
I'm
first round
playing
pick.
this week, so it's really going to be the battle for the toilet bowl. Early battle for the toilet bowl here.
I think Bill is gonna be fine with Josh Allen and McCaffrey. I think
Sean is going to be fine.
I think Max is gonna be fine. Barkley, like the Giants were so terrible. Like like you said, Barkley and Cook will have fine seasons. Even I was so surprised at your team's score with Chase. I mean, Chase and Fields didn't show up. I think Gibbs will get better. I mean,
I think my team has way more upside than the first week showed. If my team continues to score like that, and it's like Joe Burrow's injury really is that much of a thing, where Jamar just can't score any points, and Jameer's just buried in the depth chart, and like there's a lot of avenues for my team to like totally suck, but I think they're less likely than people just bouncing back and playing well.
So for the Sacco conversation, do you think it's better to have a team with a higher ceiling or a higher floor?
Isn't that the age-old debate in fantasy?
Chicken or the egg here.
I used to be like a floor guy. Like I want guys to get like 12 reception or 12 targets and like 60 yards, 8 catches, and everyone gets 10 points and you win, right? If like that could be one strategy, but then I just found if 2 or 3 of those guys just whiff, then you just have 80 points every week. So when I won my 2 ships, I actually like kind of went swinging for the fences on those teams. And I was looking for more high upside guys. I made some bold trades. So I tend to think that higher ceilings are better.
Okay. Yeah, something I'd like to revisit in the next few weeks. I do want to say that I think Sean's team is going to be fine. The fuck Sean. I think our team is going to be fine, especially.
I think Brad's team could be
the
sneaky
Chubster.
Awful too.
We'll see. We'll see what happens this week. But
he's got Kirk, Hopkins, and London as his wide receivers. Kirk played like 60% of the snaps.
That's true. Those guys all had some concerning output.
London bageled, and apparently, what's his name? Ritter. He can't even throw the ball. Apparently, they just completely shut him down in that game. Like not throwing the ball at all, which is wild. Then he has Hopkins and Tannehill look like complete horse shit.
Right, and Hopkins he hasn't practiced all week to this.
He's got Montgomery, who's clearly going to be losing ground to Jameer.
Well, hey, that offense last year was able to, I think, support multiple running backs, or at least has opportunity for multiple running backs. But anyway, back to Pebble's question. You're taking Max. I'm taking Bacon as our after week 1 way too early predictions for.
I'm actually taking Brad.
Oh,
the more I look at it, I'm going to take Brad. He's been playing with fire these last few times.
He does like to remind everyone that he is undefeated in Sacco.
He's been playing with fire. I think this is he might finally get it this time.
Next question. This one comes from Evan. Favorite draft competition?
I mean, it's beer pong for me every time because I'm so dominant at it. Me and Adam took the pretty easy W in that one.
Grumble. I think it's easy to choose one of the ones that we do every year because we always do it. I think the most fun was had when we went and played wiffle ball and the egg toss. Like just the combination of those two, like basically sober events, were amazing. I like how Pebble's egg exploded all over him. The only person to have explode on him. And then fast forward like 5 minutes and Kurt's like launching an egg 60 yards and then it just bounces off the ground fine.
Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Move along.
Someone's like, "Yeah, oh here, Pebbles, take this egg." It like a little crack in it.
Yeah. I'm gonna zag. I actually thought that wiffle ball needs some adjustments to be more fun.
What kind
I thought the constant defense by the pitcher was kind of annoying. And I didn't love the one-handed catches because I'm already not great at catching wiffle balls, and like one-handed catching out in the field is pretty tough. Anyway, I kind of liked how high scoring it was because of the one-handed catches, but also thought that the constant defense was annoying. So I would like to tweak a few rules maybe for wiffle ball.
Okay, sounds like a good Friday night tribunal topic.
Because that went so well this last night.
I think we all had some emotions we wanted to communicate. We all grew closer through that exercise.
The tribunal was brutal.
The tribunal, that's funny. Wow.
Oh man.
Tribunal gate, hashtag tribunal gate.
Yeah. We made one ruling and it was on Deshaun Watson that just made Sean fucking explode. That was all we got done the whole time. Oh my god.
Can we decide something else? We decided to not change any rules.
To do something.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Sacco is in charge of the communication of those who are not at the draft during the draft.
That's just fair.
Pebbles did immediately the next day or on Sunday, so that was great.
Yeah, beautiful.
Next question from Evan, and this actually connects to one of Adam's questions. Is
we should combine them for sure? Those two questions.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
Do you and I have any suggestions for other competitions or alternate competitions?
So glad you asked, Colin. Definitely we should do dodgeball. That would be super fun.
That sounds like something that an old man in this group is gonna like pull something and be limping around for like the rest of the competitions.
I mean, I'm suggesting it and I'm like the biggest, easiest target to hit. So like I think it's fair, right? I had another one. I'm totally spacing on it right now. Here, if you have any ideas, go, and I'm gonna percolate on this one.
Yeah. I don't have anything that immediately comes to mind. I do appreciate the out of the box competitions that we've done. I was a fan of the spoon chug. I know it's kind of like a hot topic, but I thought that was funny and fun when we did it.
Mm-hmm.
And like the egg toss is like funny and fun. While I definitely appreciate doing activities that I have some like skill in to like increase my chances of winning, I think it is fun to do something completely random that just like nobody has skill in. That kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
I think so this is what I was thinking about, and I had a few. I think we should probably start to taper off the heavy drinking ones because I want it to be more inclusive. I know Weaver had a tough time or has had a tough time with the relay and that being so heavily weighted. And I would like there to be like more involvement. And I thought that a lot of the more sober activities were really fun. Like the egg toss was like really fun. I was thinking it might be fun to do like a trivia, like you have like a teammate and then you do trivia. That would be fun. And then another one that would be fun would be like a downtown like scavenger hunt. Like you have to do like a bunch of different things. You have like an hour with your partner to do like a bunch of different things, and whoever wins the scavenger hunt, like, gets points or whatever.
Get the oil rig tattoo for an automatic win.
We keep talking about it. Someone's just got to. We're always just too drunk or hungover to actually do it.
Were you happy with and this is another Zag, talking about Zags, going through all the competitions, and we talked about the Grand Slam that was not a Grand Slam and all that. Be that as it may, were you happy with your draft slot? Your draft slot and your corresponding team?
I'm happy with my draft slot. I kind of wanted one, obviously, so you don't need to think about it, and you get the highest value on the wraps. But yeah, I mean, I thought that there was a lot of really good value at the end of the draft, first round. I mean,
Mhm.
so I think that's why like Weaver's team is looking so strong, is because he was able to get a lot, like a really because like of the fact that running backs were somewhat devalued in the first round this year. I thought a ton of like great running backs showed up at the back end of the first round, or even like in the beginning of the second round. So you
Mhm.
could still get a pretty damn good wide receiver, or just get two really good running backs. And I thought that that was a good slot. In hindsight, I had a really tough time with my draft. I mean, I was drunk too, but I definitely had every single time I was on the clock, I was like, there isn't the guy that I wanted there to be here,
How
or
much
even any guy.
how much prep did you do?
A lot. I actually did a
Okay.
lot of prep.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say I also was like very drunk, and I
you
found
were
it
the most
nice.
drunk.
I don't know if I was the most drunk.
You were by far the most drunk. I think.
Um,
I think if we voted in the group me, you would be the most drunk for sure.
well, I am the champion, and I had a great time during the draft. What I was gonna say is all my preparation helped when it came to me in the later picks of the draft, and I'm like hammered. It's like, oh, there's this guy that I've been like looking at for the last month. I can just like plug him in and I don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
So,
Sam Laporta.
so you felt pretty good about your draft then.
So far, so good. I mean, without talking a ton about my team, like we said, half my points almost came from two guys. So that's like probably not sustainable.
Waddle's hurt.
Waddle has no questionable tag going into this matchup, and a lot of my other guys underperformed, and I didn't have Mark Andrews. So we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, I got the highest score without Mark Andrews last week.
So to answer the question, maybe some outside the box drinking ones, trivia, dodgeball, scavenger hunt. Those are all, I think, good ideas.
Are you in for like you like the beer tasting?
Oh, I love the beer tasting. I feel like it's one of my stronger ones. I like cornhole is obviously the one that I absolutely suck at.
You and me
I
both. I think I might have been the second worst cornhole
dude.
player.
So it was really brutal for me to get last place in stick cup and cornhole. But yeah, what can you do? I knocked it out of the park for a lot of the other ones. Literally in one for Weaver that didn't count. But yeah, I won 1-2 and tied for a lead in the beer tasting. So overall, strong performance.
Yeah, I think you got to be happy with where you ended up, given that you were in the last place game for two of those competitions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next Adam question: will Pick'em ever mean anything or be worth anything? And a quick Pick'em update. There are five of us, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 participating.
Who did I pick this week?
I don't know if you picked this week. You picked last week. And you went 3-3 with Adam. Weaver and Pebs went 4-2. I went 5-1. And to answer Adam's question is, I think Pick'em's a little tough because no one wants to take the responsibility of collecting money and then delivering someone what their comeuppance would be if they win the Pick'em. I certainly don't want to take another thing on to be responsible for. So I think it would take a concerted effort of those who are doing the Pick'em to like agree to send money to someone and then have that person buy the fifth or whatever and deliver to the winner. But if nothing else, it's fun to like pick and see how you pick.
Yeah, I want it to be worth something. I think we should get Adam what he is owed, and I would be willing to volunteer to do that if I can find the time. And we just need to research who owes what, and then that would be it. We can put it in the Splitwise.
Yes. Long live Splitwise. So Adam, TBD. Right now it's just for pride.
It's not for pride. It's for a fifth of nice whiskey that you will get.
I think until the whiskey is delivered is for pride, right?
We know what
like,
it's for.
Moving on, Weaver says week 1 power rankings, early champ favorite. So just as we did
Would he ask that question if he was in 11th place like me? You know?
I don't know, Weaver. Once you listen to this, why don't you throw in the group me if you had your positions flipped with Stu and you had scored 81
Yes.
points last week? Would you be asking the same?
A little self-indulgent, don't we think? Like, I did call this team very strong earlier.
I'm gonna look at the top three teams because they all outscored everybody by at least 20 points. And let's see, Weaver's fucking quarterback is Gino. I don't know. I think Weaver is not a champion favorite, although I really do like Amon Ra, Keenan Allen, and Tony Pollard. Those three are strong. And obviously the Dallas defense was good. I don't think you can bank on even having them score half of the points they did every week. Like they scored 37 in
He did
week
have the
one.
Dallas defense that went hard in the paint for him last week.
That's what I'm saying. This is like
Yeah.
I think that like I mean, would you think they're gonna score even like 16 points every week? Like
No, I
they're
mean
not
his
yeah,
defense. No,
right. So I think it's tough. And also the same with the Sacco. It's like it's been 1 week. Like who knows what the fuck's gonna happen?
I can just look at based on like your pre-draft like outlook on players. And then of course you throw out the ones that you thought were going to be good and then clearly like don't have the role or just like look old and decrepit or whatever. And I think that you and Pebbles have a very strong chance. I think you'll go as far as Tua will take you, but that's kind of what you signed up for.
I agree. I also remember I think it might have been you saying that I was a Sacco contender after the draft.
Well, your running backs are a hot mess. You've got Midasus and Middle Sanders.
I think it's mid Sanders. I think it's
Oh, Mid Susters.
mid Sanders and Matasus.
Madasus and Mid Sanders. Yeah.
Yeah, I just need Tyreek to score enough points for three players. And then
You're gonna get I mean,
fine.
I think you can probably I think Dalvin Cook is gonna be a great hold for you
Yeah,
because I
with
think that
Rodgers going down, that's just
the
tough.
Jets are just gonna run. Yeah. So I think also you can probably save up your fab until you find like the clear cut injury guy, and then you can just go hard for that guy.
100% my plan.
Yeah.
I do like Pebbles' team. I do like Dijon, Robinson. I like Ridley, Olave, Herbert. Those are strong plays. So
Yeah. So I would say probably you or Pebbles would be my picks. Although
yeah.
Pebbles would be my stronger pick because of Mid Sanders and
Alexander
Sus.
Matasus.
For the
Yeah.
record, he did not look glorious or whatever, as Brad said in the group me last week. He looked wop.
Yeah, I know he's been bad. Yeah, something needs to
Pathetic.
change in that offense, or he's gonna be finding the bench really soon. All right.
Cousins going to get traded, and then everyone's fucked on that team.
Next Weaver question as we're coming up on our time here. Tier rankings of fantasy draft weekends. Now, I think that's going to take a lot of effort we haven't put into it, but I think you and I can give our like top three draft weekends or something, and then
Yeah.
maybe our like worst, or like not worst is probably not the right way to put it, but the bottom draft weekend.
I really enjoyed the Disco Bay one. I think that it's kind of wrapped up in the whole COVID thing too, where you're not really seeing anybody, and then all of a sudden we just have an awesome draft weekend. So that one has a special place in my heart. It had a lot of really memorable events. It had Limegate.
Yes,
It
Slimegate.
had the playlist gate.
Yes.
It had Atonement, the beginning of
Yes.
Atonement.
And Fratum.
Dude. And then the algae bloom.
Yeah. And Bill and I just on that like one person kayak or whatever, just having a grand old time after the draft, right in that poisonous algae.
Yeah, and it was the last time I won a Hall of Fame drinking championship. Conveniently the year before the belt. So there's that. Yeah, I love that one. And then I have to throw back to all the old Santa Barbara ones. Those ones were always so fun. like the initial like the seedling version of what we have now. Like it would be fun to like go back in time and like remote view those times, and because I
Mhm.
don't remember much about them other than that they were amazing, right?
Yeah, I like them all. I like the travel ones probably the most. The this last one in Bend was awesome. Um, and Pebbles' Portland one was also awesome. Uh, I liked Disco Bay was really fun for all the reasons you said. Also doing the one-on-one beer pong 6 cup as an event. I like
Yeah,
that. And maybe that ties back to that earlier question. I'd be down to bring the one-on-one beer pong back.
yeah.
Because we're doing it virtually against some people, which that was fun.
It
Like
was
Brad's
weird.
like poolside. You didn't like that? I thought Max had his own contraption of like ball catching where he had like a
Yeah,
captain's
I mean,
table.
I thought that was those kind of things were sus, and I thought Brad's setup was super sus.
Where you couldn't see his cups.
Yeah, you can see shit. You're like, how close are they to Brad? Like, I thought that there was a lot of iffy uh situations going on.
uh I think my least favorite, or at least least favorite draft moment is when Adam almost broke my arm at Slew House. Because then I was like, oh, my arm is fucked. And then I'm like drunkenly.
That
It's
was
just,
contact that you initiated.
I mean, who's to say who initiated it?
You did.
There were good people on both sides. Okay. There were good people on both
that one
sides.
that one was tough, not because of the hospitality,
The
but because
smoke.
of the smoke. And
Yeah.
I was brutally hungover the second day. Like it was my worst. Like it's kind of a meme where I get like pretty hungover for Saturday, but like that day was the worst one by far. My arms felt like bags of sand.
We got to shout out Malibu too. That was a great one. The
That
Havana
was great. The
people.
pool needs to be mandatory from here on out.
Well, maybe you can travel. Maybe you can travel the join committee next year. Maybe you can join the travel committee next year. But you're on the travel committee.
Yeah, I was pretty worthless. I just had Marlo was like just born, so that was pretty worthless.
Uh that Bend place was great. It had everything but a hot tub or a pool. It was cheap.
It
It had
had
a giant
it had
yard,
mice.
maybe one mouse.
I think there were
It
multiple
had a
mice.
priceless DVD collection.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right, moving on. Thanks everyone for your questions. Send them next week as well. One little bit of research I did before we get into the picks and maybe Stu's golden nuggets if we have time is
Silver Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings Playbook. Okay, Silver Linings Playbook. I was curious if all-time week one win percentage. So if you win week one more often than not, does that correlate with your end of season finish? And what I did is I took everybody's win percentage from the 11 years that we have data for, and then I compared everyone's finish, and the results were no, it does not matter if you win week one or not. And just to give it a little bit of color, those who have the highest win percentage all time are Bill, Pebbles, and Scott at just about 73%. We have 11 years. The lowest is Max. He's actually 2-9 in his game ones. And then O'Malley, Evan, and Bacon are 4-7 in their game ones. So they are the worst. But if you look at average finish, Bill is number one by far. With his all-time average finish is 4.5. Next would be me at 5. Pebbles at 5.4. Without getting too into this data now, because it sounds more boring than I'm talking about it. There is no correlation.
No correlation.
Because someone like a Max who has the worst week one winning percentage by a lot has the 5th best overall winning percentage. Whereas someone like Weaver, who is just above 50% win percentage, has the worst all-time overall finish. So if we're going to do a prelude to our Silver Linings Playbook, it's that if you lost in week one, it's not going to directly indicate how your season finish is going to be.
Yeah. I was trying to find some patterns, couldn't find any. But yeah,
There are
I
some
guess
fun
that was
patterns.
what was that?
Some fun patterns.
Yeah.
The longest winning streaks and longest losing streaks. So longest winning streak, Weaver has actually won 6 week ones in a row after losing 5 in a row. So he is a huge streaky guy. The next longest win percentage is for Scott, earliest win streak at 3. You yourself have a 3 week 1 losing streak, and Max has
Yeah.
lost 4 in a row.
Rough.
Anyway,
I'll
Silver
bounce back.
Linings playbook, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can just go off the top of my head here. Do a little bit of riffing. Hey, that's what everyone. I'm just going to look it up on my phone here. So my Silver Linings playbook, obviously, I kind of touched on it earlier. I thought almost all of my players underperformed. Gibbs is going to have more of a shot. Chase is going to be better. Fields is going to be better. Pickens won't play the Niners every week. I think I'm going to be bouncing right back. All right, let's find the other ones. League matchups. Here we go. Now, Bacon also had a lot of underperforming. Thick Josh Jacobs didn't do well for him. Lamar Jackson. I swear, every time I looked over at the Ravens game, it was Lamar Jackson like fumbling or like getting sacked. It was brutal. Silver linings, though, I think that he's got Nico Collins, who looks to be a pretty solid floor wide receiver going forward. Kelsey is obviously going to be an absolute stud. And if it gets really bad, well, he's got his 49ers to keep him warm. He's got Brock Purdy and he's got the SFD. So even if he gets a Sacco, he can have some homer cheering this year. So that's a nice thing.
Your silver linings for Bacon is that if he wins the Sacco, he's going to do it with Niner players.
That's part of it. I think he'll bounce right back, though. Not this week, but maybe later. No Coop for you. I think that's Evan, right?
Yep.
So Evan is gonna, I guess his silver lining is all in his just random ass players. Like Jonathan Taylor, is he gonna come back? Is he gonna be effective? I don't know. It could be. Cooper Kupp, will he actually come back and be effective? I don't know. Could be. There's a lot of question marks. We called him what do we compare him to? Like the Joker and Batman. It was something like that. I know you called me that earlier, Heath Ledger and Batman, but it was something like that because his team was just so chaotic. And it definitely has the highest variance. And he put up respectable numbers. He just kind of got blown out by Pebs. So yeah, I think he has a lot of ability to improve and be better. But I mean, if those guys don't come back, that was a big reason why I spent so much on Puka, because I'm not buying that Kupp is really that healthy. I think that he might be out for a while. And I'm trying to justify not drafting Kupp too, because if you thought he would be right back, you would draft him, right? But none of us did, obviously. So, all right. Next one is old Sean. Well, T. Higgins will definitely not put up a 0 again. So that's, I think, already a positive. If T catches 3 passes in that game, he probably wins week 1. So I think that's strong. It was Jacoby Myers is out, so that's a bummer for him. But he has Charbonnet, and I think Charbonnet will eventually take over that backfield. So yeah, I think that Sean has a lot of ability here. What do you think? Do you wanna weigh in on these?
Sure. Yeah, I agree that Higgins is not going to put up 0 every week. I think that CeeDee Lamb's ceiling, at least in week 1, was capped by the absolute domination of the Dallas defense. So he'll have greener pastures on the horizon. And then the Chubster, Chubster is great. So, and like you said, like if you look at O'Malley's like points for, he is, I guess, right around the middle right now of everybody else. So don't need to be pressing the panic button just yet.
No, but he needs to press the panic button on his thumbnail. He's still the Applebee's apple.
Oh,
Gotta let
yes.
it go.
Yeah, y'all
I'm eating
gotta
good in the
update.
neighborhood now.
Up.
Not you, me. Take it down.
Next person.
All right. So I pierced my dick root, which is another funny
Richard
callback.
Root.
The fucking dick root
Man,
is a funny callback from the draft weekend. So
that was probably the
yeah,
drunkest I was during the entire weekend. I could not hit a cup in that beer pong game on Sunday night to save my life. It was Kurt and I on a team, and
we abused you guys.
I could not.
Like,
I couldn't even tell you who we were playing. I didn't remember it was you that we were playing. I guess who was your partner? Bill? Was Bill the other person?
yeah, you guys could literally like me to us in like 5 years for that game. How bad we abused you.
Oh my God.
Anyway, not funny. So with Bill, I think that Josh Allen is obviously not going to be a 9-point quarterback for the rest of the season. He's going to be doing much, much better. He's got Christian McCaffrey. He got a bagel from Goddard. I have Goddard out of the league, so I know the pain there. And Gibson, he's got to move on from. Gibson is absolute trash. He's not going to be anything. So, yeah, I think that he's going to have much better luck. He's going to put Pierce in that RB2 slot and then probably just roll out with one of his bench like wide receivers or something. I don't know. He might still have trouble in the flex spot, but I think he's going to be doing a lot better with Josh Allen and Goddard. So, yeah, I think he and also he is one of the savvier move makers during the season. So he's going to pick people up. He'll be fine.
History is on his side, being the number one all-time average finisher.
Yeah. So Max, yeah, I mean, I kind of already talked about the issues with his wide receiver core, which, you know, at the end of draft weekend, we were all talking about how strong his wide receiver core looked. And then it's just like, well, lots of question marks in those teams' passing games now. Yeah, it's tough to say for Max. He's going to need to hope that Cook and Barkley are just like otherworldly at times, and Burrow needs to put up consistently high numbers for him.
Yeah,
I think his wide receivers are going to be. They might have nice floors here and there, but like if Garrett Wilson doesn't score that touchdown, like what a brutal day, you know. So yeah, I just feel like he could be in trouble, but the silver lining is Burrow and Barkley are going to be better than they were. So I think he's going to have at least a chance to try to fill in some pieces here. Debo will have some hits too, some weeks. He'll definitely have some big games.
Yeah.
And I guess that concludes Silver Linings Playbook.
What about Bako? Did you Bako?
Did I do Bako? I did, didn't I?
Oh yeah, the Niners.
Yeah,
he can go all the way to the Sacco ship with the Niners, and that's his silver lining.
He gets to hold his Niners tight.
All right, 5 minutes left. Let's do some week 2 predictions.
All right, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, I'll start, and I will start with no Coop for you versus Justice for Sean and Deshaun. Oh man.
Clearly have a little bit of a spoiler alert here.
Yeah. It's a bummer that we're doing this after Thursday Night Football, but I can say that my pick'em will be exactly as what my picks today will be. So there was no collusion with that. And I had chosen Scott to win this one. I think at the end of the day, I liked Scott's receivers over Evans, especially Diggs and Brown. Although Brown did not produce, I still liked his receiver core. And I also liked the Philadelphia defense. So I guess Scott's special teams over Evans this week. And so I picked Scott.
I don't exactly remember. I think I picked Scott in the pick'em. If I even did the pick'em, I'm like the thing that I'm worried about is that if I didn't hit like save or something, because I know I like went through, but I'm not sure if I hit save.
As long as you save each matchup at the top, it saves it.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
We'll
We'll
see.
find out. We'll find. I'm basically just fading Evan's team, to be honest.
Because the
Just
Cup and the
fading.
Taylor
Yeah.
Taylor
I
thing.
think he is punting a little bit on these early weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just fading him. I thought that was more of a fade pick more than anything else.
Okay. So we are both taking Scott. What is your next matchup you want to look at?
All right, let's look at Oh Baby, I Like Amin Ra, which I feel like has too many syllables. I think you could just say I like it raw and just have a bunch of A's. It would be fine. But yeah, I think I picked Sean for this one just by looking at the I think that I do really like Trevor Lawrence in this matchup with Kansas City. I think he's gonna have
Mhm.
a hell of a game. And yeah, I think Higgins is gonna play well. I think yeah, I think that was pretty much it. I just thought that Lawrence was gonna do great. Um Amon-Ra St. Brown's gonna have a huge game against Seattle though for Weaver. I think Geno Smith is absolute dog shit. I think he's gonna be like 12 points kind of thing. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it, I'm liking Weaver's team.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I chose Weaver. I chose Weaver because I
Hmm.
think his receivers are stronger, and I think even though it's probably not going to be a 37-point performance, I think Dallas defense is going to have their way with Zach Wilson, and so that's going to be a
Hmm.
big boost in this
Yeah.
matchup.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
not to
true.
mention Gus Edwards is now the number one back, most likely in Baltimore.
Yeah, I still think that'll be somewhat of a timeshare.
And also
Yeah,
for
he's got.
Weaver, Pollard is the Cowboys lead back. If the Cowboys go up to like a multiple score lead, they're just gonna run it out with Pollard. So I think
Yeah,
game script will also help
yeah,
Weaver's team.
but the Jets defense is really good.
Sure.
So he also might just get stonewalled the whole game. Um, or pull the Panthers defense where they do awesome the whole game until the fourth quarter because they just break because the offense sucks that much. And so that could be the script too. You know what? I'm gonna stick with my Sean pick. I think I picked Sean in the pick'em, so I'm gonna stick with that. But the more I look at Weaver's team, it's looking good.
Next, let's look at I pierced my dick root, and this is how you Ramondre. In this one, I chose Adam. I chose him because I love J Jeff and Hurts. I think Hurts and Jefferson, I mean, now with the
Nice
hindsight,
days, yeah, nice
you can
days.
see that they both overshot their projections. Although Devonta Smith for Bill also had a strong week. But I think that overall, Adam's team is stronger. Although Bill has jumping Josh, so we'll see how he does against those Las Vegas Raiders. That's a fun one to keep watching. Adam watching both his opponents and his opponent's quarterback play against their teams. That being the
Yeah,
Raiders.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think Adam's really vibing with the Raiders anymore, but I think that Josh Allen is going to smash the Raiders this this week. So I think that could be a huge boon for Bill. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to have a great game. I could see Pierce having a great game. Uh, they were a little frisky in the beginning of that game. They were like a 40-minute team
Hmm.
against Baltimore. Like they were looking frisky for sure. Um, I do like Algier. I think Algier is. It reminds me of like D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart a little bit. That offense. Um, they're definitely going to be utilizing both those backs. So I really like that for his RB slot. Um, the other thing is I think that his kind of lower tier wide receivers, Adam and by I'm saying, have a pretty good chance of popping. I think that if Judy's healthy, he could do well against Washington. And I think that if Reynolds, if he's getting a lot of snaps and whatnot, I think they could really run up the score on Seattle. So I could see
Yeah.
Reynolds like getting a long touchdown or just getting a bunch of random receptions because they're just piling it on. So yeah, I can't remember who I picked in my pick 'em, but obviously I kind of think that Adam's going to pull this one off.
I also chose Adam. Next game. Gamblers Anonymous versus Max. And is he still like the goat? The goat
He's the
emoji?
burro. He's a burro.
Oh, the
Dude. He's
burrow.
a
That's what it
donkey.
is.
Yeah,
Okay, this
burro.
is the second year in a row I've had to
Like
have someone
burrito.
explain Max's emoji name to me. Last year, I was like, Jewish star, Jewish star.
That one was a little harder, but then it makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, who do
Yeah,
you got?
burro, burrito. His team's definitely looking more burrito than burrow right now. That's for sure. Yeah, I'm just gonna fade. I'm gonna fade and pick Pebbles. I think that his team is strong. The Ridley pick could loom rather large. The Ridley is looking phenomenal, and Jacksonville is high flying, and also Pittman looks like he's kind of bouncing back.
Yeah,
Like
that's
everyone's
baloney.
fading
He was
him
a
this
sack
year.
of shit last year.
Complete sack of shit last year. I had him in so many leagues, and this year it looks like, I mean, he had a great week 1 last year too, I think, but it looks like they're a little more dedicated to involving him. So those 2 picks were really special. And I think Robinson is wait, what the hell? Bijan. Yeah, obviously Bijan. I thought it was Brian Robinson for a minute. From I was like, wait, what?
The
Yeah,
Commandos.
Bijan. Everyone was like loving Bijan. In the very beginning of the game, like the first half of that game, he kind of looked like shit. Like Algier was looking like the superior back for the first like probably 2 quarters of that game. Then Bijan had he had that awesome touchdown, which he just made people look stupid, But I would not be surprised if Algier is very, very involved going forward. But yeah, I'm picking Pebbles.
I also picked Pebbles. I think that there are some arrows pointing up for his players like Ridley and Robinson, and with Max, Burrow, and Wilson, because of injury and whatnot, are pointing down currently. Although their bushes are relatively even, so we'll see. But I'm also taking Pebbles.
What to watch for this one is probably going to be that Atlanta Green Bay game, because they've got Bijan, they've got Kyle Pitts, and AJ Dillon might be the lead back of that game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be one for them to watch for sure. I don't think I'm forgetting anyone. Yeah, that'll be one to watch for sure.
2 more matchups, yours and mine, and we gotta expedite this thing. So I'm gonna do mine first. I picked myself against Brad. I think until proven otherwise, the Stackle is strong. Waddle had a down game, and I think he gets more involved. Sucks that Mattis put up less than 4 points. But
yeah,
with the boon of Andrews most likely returning, I think that hole in my lineup from last week will be filled. And yeah, basically until the Dolphins are stopped, I'm all aboard the Dolphin train. So I'm taking myself, although I do like Brad's. Obviously, Mahomes is the man, and well, actually now that Eckler is doubtful,
Eckler's out. So but he does have
his backup.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I don't think that Brad has good wide receivers, and I think that Montgomery is going to slowly be disincluded from the offense. I don't know how soon it will be. I think it'll be sooner than we think. Sleepy Joe Mixon looked very sleepy last week. His wide receivers are awful. Pat Mahomes has no one to throw to.
Kelsey coming back.
And yeah. So I don't think he's going to put up a lot of points. I'm picking you, but I don't think you're going to put up a lot of points either. I think that the New England defense, despite me talking shit about them, I think that they are actually a very good defense. They're going to make it hard for Tua. They're not going to let Tyreek Hill go for 200 yards. It's going to be a much more difficult matchup. And it could be one of those matchups where, the kind of the fast, high flying team runs into a smash mouth team with maybe a little bit of weather in New England, depending on what's up with that game.
Yep.
And I think it's a rude awakening for Miami. I have the Patriots with the upset in that game. So I think it's going to be a rough day for Miami.
Well, hopefully it's a rough day for their defense, as that's who Brad's trotting out there.
All the above.
Last
Maybe a great day
matchup.
for your kicker.
Yes, Sanders. Let's go, baby.
All right.
Who, by the way, I beat you for waiver priority, which is kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like the waiver priority was randomized, even though I'm obviously the champion. So I don't know how that works, but glad about it. Bacon versus Stu. Mo Money, More Problems versus Nakua Matata.
Nakua Matata.
You
have to sing it. That's why there's the music notes.
I'm taking Bacon.
Well,
and this right now, this is an 11th versus 12 matchup, the coveted game. Bushes are kind of close. I think it honestly boils down to Fields looking not that great. And I think Nakua is
back week.
a little sus. He's been on the injury report this week, whereas Bacon is getting Kelsey back, and Jackson also I think will have a better game. So I'm taking Bacon.
I think Justin Fields is going to have a very good week. He's going to have a bounce back week against Tampa Bay. Jamar Chase is going to have a bounce back day. I think Nakua plays and Puka is going to give me some points. I just think my team is better. I think Mostert is banged up, so I don't think he'll get as much run. And even if he does, he's going up against hard defense. I think that Jacobs looked awful and fat, and he's going up against an angry Buffalo defense. I think it's going to be a blowout. Angry. Yeah, I think it's going to be a blowout. I think Buffalo's going to kill him. I think DJ Moore is trash. I think Mike Williams is trash. I'm going hard on Bacon's team. Sorry, Bacon. But yeah, I'm just picking myself. I'm stunned.
All right, so we both have me over Brad. We both have Pebs over Max. I'm taking Bacon. You're taking yourself.
Sorry, Bacon. Sorry I went so hard in the paint.
Weaver, you're taking O'Malley. We're both taking Adam over Bill. We're both taking Scott over Evan. And that's the week 1 recap, week 2 preview, first pod, joint pod. We've joined forces and collabed. Good luck, everybody. It's time for some disc golf for Colin.
All right. Good luck, everybody. I'll catch you later, Mr. Gall.
Bye.
Bye.